Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of software quality assurance. We're decoding the essential language, the jargon you hear all the time, to make test automation totally clear and simple. All right, let's get into it.
So have you ever been in a meeting and words like regression or CI/CD start flying around and you just find yourself nodding, hoping nobody asks you a direct question? Yeah, you are not alone. It's kind of like its own language, but don't worry, by the end of this, we're gonna get you fluent. Our whole goal here is to turn that confusion into confidence. We're gonna break these core concepts down one by one, nice and easy. And we're gonna start right where all good testing begins, with a solid plan, the blueprint.
You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, right? Well, it's the exact same for software. This planning stage makes sure we aren't just clicking around randomly. It's how we methodically build quality in from the very beginning. Okay, so the most basic building block of all testing is the test case. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. It gives you step-by-step instructions and then tells you exactly what delicious result you should expect at the end. So if a test case is one single recipe, what happens when you group a bunch of them together? You get a test suite. It's basically the whole cookbook. You might have a cookbook for all your user login tests, another for everything related to the checkout process. You get the idea. And then, looking over the entire kitchen, you have the test plan. This is the master strategy. It's the high-level document that stops everything from becoming total chaos by answering the big questions. What are we even testing? Why is it important? And how are we going to pull it all off? And of course, there are a few key ingredients that bring that plan to life. You've got the test script, which is the super detailed instructions, the test scenario, which is the high-level story, like a user tries to reset their password. You need the right environment, the stage where the test happens, and you need test data, the actual information you'll type into the boxes.
Okay, so planning is absolutely crucial, but a plan doesn't run itself, right? The real magic, especially these days, is in the execution, running hundreds, maybe thousands of these tests over and over again. So how do you power that? Well, this is where the automation engine comes in. We're officially moving from the blueprints to the heavy machinery. We're looking at the core ideas that let teams test faster, more often, and at a scale that would be impossible for humans to do manually. Now, this one trips people up all the time, so let's make it super simple. Think of it like a game. The automation framework is the rulebook. It's not a piece of software, but a set of guidelines for how you write good, reusable tests. The automation tool, on the other hand, that's the player. That's the software like Selenium or Playwright that actually runs on the field and plays by the rules.
At the heart of that whole engine, you really have two things going on. Test execution is just what it sounds like, running the scripts. But the real brain of the operation, that's the assertions. These are the heartbeats of your automation. Each assertion is a tiny moment of truth that asks, did we get what we expected? It's a simple yes or no, pass or fail. So how does this all fit together in the real world? Through something called CI/CD. Honestly, the best way to picture it is a fully automated assembly line for software. A developer adds a new piece of code, and right away the assembly line kicks on. It automatically builds the software, runs all the automated tests to check for problems, and if everything passes, it ships the new version out. It's amazing. All right, so we've got our engine, but what kind of tests are we running on it? Well, it turns out not all tests are created equal. Just like a mechanic has a whole toolbox for different parts of an engine, testers have different kinds of tests for different situations.
When you get right down to it, all testing is really just trying to answer two big questions. First, there's functional testing. This asks, does the feature do the right thing? Like, if I click the buy button, does it actually buy the item? Then you have non-functional testing, which asks a different question. Does it do the thing right? Is it fast? Is it secure? Is it easy to use? You really build quality in layers, kind of like a pyramid. At the very bottom, the foundation, you have unit tests. These check the tiniest little pieces of code all by themselves. One step up, you've got integration tests, which make sure all those little pieces can talk to each other correctly. And then at the very top, you have system testing, where you test the whole fully assembled application. Okay, this next one is a huge deal. You could argue it's one of the most important jobs for automation. Regression testing is your safety net. Its entire purpose is to answer one critical question. Did the cool new thing we just added accidentally break something old that used to work perfectly? Now, these two sound similar and often get mixed up, so let's clear it up. A smoke test is a quick, wide-ranging check. It's like asking, does the application even start up without catching fire? You do it before you waste time on any deep testing. A sanity test, on the other hand, is narrow and deep. It happens after a small bug fix, just to make sure that one specific thing is now working correctly.
Of course, the whole reason we do any of this is to find problems before our customers do. So what happens when a test fails and we find a bug? Let's talk about managing those imperfections and getting that final green light for release. First things first, what even is a bug? Well, a bug, or a defect, is really just any time the software produces a result that it's not supposed to. It's an error, a flaw, something's just not right. Now, this is a super important distinction. Not all bugs are created equal. You have to think about severity versus priority. Severity is about the technical impact. How badly does this bug break things? Does it crash the whole system? Priority is about the business urgency. How fast do we need to fix it? Think about it. A typo in the company logo on the homepage is low severity, technically, but it's probably a very high priority to fix. Every bug goes on a little journey. First, it's discovered and logged. Then it's assigned to a developer to figure out. The developer works their magic and fixes it, but it's not over. Now it goes back to QA to be retested and verified. Only after QA confirms the fix actually worked can the bug finally be closed. It's this constant collaborative dance. With all this talk of automation, you might be thinking, are humans even needed anymore? Absolutely. There are places where scripts just can't compete. Exploratory testing is one. That's where a tester uses their creativity and intuition to just explore the app, finding weird bugs machines would never think to look for. And then there's user acceptance testing, or UAT. That's the ultimate final check, where real users give the final thumbs up. So how do you manage all this complexity? Well, teams use a few key tools to keep track of quality. You have bug tracking software like Jira to make sure no defect gets lost. You have metrics like test coverage, which tells you what percentage of your app is actually covered by tests. And then there's the traceability matrix, a master document that connects every single requirement to a test case, proving that everything has been checked. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question. In a world where machines can run thousands of tests in the blink of an eye, where is the human tester's role most essential? Where does that irreplaceable human intuition, that creativity, and that empathy for the user make the biggest difference between software that just works and software that people absolutely love to use?
If you want to learn more about AI, do check other videos of this channel. Please subscribe so that I can continue making more such videos for you.